Hello, everybody. How are you on a Monday, on a holiday Monday? Somebody forgot to tell me it was a holiday, so I didn't realize. So, what's going on? Have y'all seen the sheets that I put out? The scores. What do you guys think about that? How much is a membership? Membership is $25 a year. Hey, Jeffrey. $25 a year. That's what the membership is. And the only benefit to the membership is that it allows you to acquire points towards finals. So if you got no interest in going to finals memberships, probably not for you. Jeffrey, are you getting over that COVID, man? You all right? We got I just talked to Jimmy. He sent me a message earlier. He thought we weren't going to have the show. And I just saw it about 2 minutes ago. And so Jimmy's not going to be on with us tonight, but he thought we weren't going to do a live. But we haven't missed one in a while. So I guess why it's a holiday, more people at home, maybe. Yeah. Jamie, you love it. Oh my God, still on oxygen. Man, that's tough. Jamie, you love the scores? Is that what you're talking about? Good deal, Tommy. I have to look into that. Shoot me a message. I got Dominic. April 25th. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I may have already fixed it, Tommy. I'm not sure. But we will. We'll fix it. It's a good thing that we did this now rather than right before finals because been bad to have to figure all this out like a day or two before finals. So at least we got that going on. Hey, Rob. So but yeah, I'm glad to have it all straight early. So y'all, I'm gonna bring Dan O'Brien in with us. So here's Dan. Hello, Dan.
Hey guys, how we doing tonight?
I think we're doing all right, man.
There we go. Now I got a little
Hey,
more volume.
Carl. Right. Tommy, I had a lot of people like this, but most of them were mistaken on the fact that they paid a membership or not. Most of them paid right before finals, which was just a few months ago. But that was for that year for finals, and so we don't actually have a lot of members at this instant. But anyway, as I put that list out, it let people know they weren't, and most people have been taking care of it. What do you think, Dan? You looking at you or me?
I think the list is pretty decent. I like what we've done with it and what everything is that's on it. But a lot of people asked about it, and it just simply looks good. And aside from a few people asking, "Hey, how do I get on it?" and them needing to simply put on their membership money up for it, or their names getting a little funky. Myself included, because the apostrophe in the last name, all of us Irish folks, the O'Shaughnessy's and the O'Briens and the O'Donnells and a few other folks, but it looks good. I like it.
Yeah. So, Tommy, what's your last name? Are you Haberline? Are you Tommy Haberline? Is that Tommy Haberline? Right there?
Mm-hmm.
That's him? Tommy Lee?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I fixed you already, Tommy. And as a matter of fact, those of you that may not know, there's a spreadsheet we're talking about, not that graphic. And so you can click. I posted it in the group. There's a spreadsheet that you can click and go scroll up some scores. I'll probably make that graphic in a day or two. The graphic takes a little while. People like the graphic better, I think, but I just wanted to get that out there for you guys. But Yeah, Tommy, I remember fixing you already, man. Look at there, man. One night on the show, you're already getting compliments.
There you go. That's the easy way to do it.
Right. So, also, let me tell you guys what I didn't know. I got a few phone calls on this. So that list is from finals until now. Also, so it's not like last year; it's just this year, just current.
Yeah, list has good information on it. Like you just said there, Billy. It's got, you can sort it by your name. So if you have a, hopefully now, with the one that you just posted up a couple hours ago here tonight, if you see your name and it is spelled wrong, or if your name is coming up twice, because it's, your last name is Johnson or Williamson and you use an S-O-N and we typed in S-E-N, you know,
Right.
we can still change that. Little things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But sort it by name, sort it by class, so you can figure out, hey, who do I have to beat in the one class that I do have enough points for finals. I see Paul's just posting up there, where is finals?
Right.
Well, finals is still yet to be determined up here, Paul, and Jimmy and I are going to start talking about that probably later this week, because I think Billy and Jordan have a spot that they kind of liked last year. I was not opposed to doing it in Kansas City last year. I kind of liked the location that we had down there. It was a good location. I thought it was right at Argosy Casino, kind of south central part of Kansas City for us in the northern area. I liked it. It was a good enough parking lot. Denny with Casey Showdown also had a show there at the same time. So it was a nice 2-day event, 1 day for finals. And then the very next day, Jimmy was fortunate enough to, you know, obviously he lives down there. We're fortunate enough to have a good parking lot there, like I'm saying. It's right along the river. 2-day show. So 1 day for finals. And the next day we had the first show of the new season. So very nice to have that in our back pocket, so to speak, with Jimmy's relationship with Denny, Casey Custom Showdown down here, or Showdown Customs, and it's good stuff. So, how about Sibley Idol?
We will. I'm not sure. I'm not
It,
sure if we'll have enough people in Texas by then, where Chet Teal is. He's not had a show yet, but Robert Diaz down in Florida will surely be kicked off and rolling well by then.
sure.
And so we'll probably have a spot that we have to find for a show there too. And then we got a couple more guys right around me. Jake Luke is going to be doing the Memphis area, Arkansas area. And then DJ Smith is going to be kind of like that south to north Alabama. No telling where he wind up going. Probably over into Panhandle, Florida too. I think that'd be him. So we got about 5 or 6 locations that we got to get worked out, but we will. So it ought to be really fun. How do you guys like not having to travel, Ho? How's that? I mean, I know some of you still have to travel some, but we're trying to just knock a lot of that down.
Yeah, travel up here is always going to be a little bit of an issue, because big towns up here are more responsive to shows in some regards, whereas the same can be said for some very small towns as well. Jimmy just had a show last weekend. I don't mean yesterday or Saturday, but had a show last weekend that went out very well in Columbus, Nebraska, that I went to. I saw a lot of people there, unfortunately. Paul, as he's kind of mentioning there again, is all we do up here is drive. The closest shows generally up here between myself and Jimmy, with me being in Sioux Falls and him being in the Kansas City area, we've got about 400 miles between us. And halfway is Omaha. maybe that's a good location. I do like Paul's idea of Sibley, Iowa, because that is much closer to me.
Right.
But still, again, about 80 miles away. But shows where we can have things, uh, big areas that can accommodate 50 or 60 people for 2, sometimes 3 nights if you want to get in early or stay another night afterward. Something with hotels that are around, something that kind of doesn't mind the loud noise and their aspect of things, but the music for us, as long as we have a space that is accommodating, we'll hold a show there. So whether it's just a regular weekend, small Friday night get together with 15 or 20 people, or if it's a full show for 30 or 40 or 50, whatever we've got, we'll hold a show there. If we can find somewhere that's got the accommodations of having food next door, something
Yeah,
that is
good.
decent as far as the physical location. It's either a paved parking lot or a nice field that's been mowed down or something else like that. We'll hold a show there, and if it's big enough and they like us enough, maybe we'll be able to hold finals there. So it's there's a lot of little towns that would probably hate to have us there, but that's only because they don't know us yet. Yeah, we're going to
Right.
make a lot of noise, just like a racetrack or anything else for a while, but that's
Yeah.
what we do. We are all car people, whether we like our big uh, squatted cars or jacked up 4x4s with a lot of chrome, and it's in a 63 Vet, or it's a fully restored Model A or a Model T or something else. We all like cars. We just have a different aspect of what we like about it. So,
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I tell you what, man, I spent, and this is really not a good thing, but I found some holes in our inner workings, if you will, when I was coming up with that list. Like there were some people that I had not gotten names from you guys, not you personally, but I mean just overall. And then there's some that were misspelled, and so it just put all kind of holes in the data, right? But we found those holes, and so I'm excited about that. So it probably won't be wrong again. Right? Done.
well, no, and
Probably.
some of that, a lot of that data, again, I know that Jimmy and Sonia up here in the Heartland region that they've got a nice little sign out there that says print neatly. If
Right.
guys and gals can't print, that does align themselves with having issues later on for us. But
Right.
as long as you can print your name neatly on the sheets and we can get you the scores all written down and everything, it goes a lot smoother a little later on, early on in the week
Yeah.
rather than on the weekend. You guys work hard
Well,
enough on the weekends getting to the shows, and unfortunately,
yeah.
sometimes having things blow up at the shows that
Right.
you know we don't need the extra stress of having our names being spelled wrong or misinterpreted as something else. Again, like I said, the Johnsons or the Williamsons with an SON versus an SEN or apostrophes or anything else.
See, now you mentioned something there that's key. So apostrophe, your name, Dan,
Mhm.
is a good example. On the, I have not verified this, but I think Jordan is smart enough to know. He says the meter won't take an apostrophe for, like when you put a name in, so it just won't
Correct.
won't acknowledge it. So now when I put you guys in a member master list, if you will, right? And I put it in how I think it is, apostrophe or not. So if I put an apostrophe on there, then and the meter sends out without an apostrophe, it won't match up. So you got to work that bug out. I'm sure Dan will be back in a minute. He probably went to read some comments. Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
There we go.
Well, did you get to read it?
Yep. You got to read it there finally.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've heard that one before. They're Mike or Beth, whichever one of you typed that. I've heard that I don't know how many times, and I've thought about it, but the folks here on Smooth Jazz, that's actually happening. Well, actually, it started about 20 minutes ago here in Sioux Falls on 90.9. Yeah, I've got that voice for it. It is good for it.
Right.
That's why I'm in the radio business. I've got the
Right.
looks for TV.
There you go. I hear you. So Dan, so you've been competing in the stealth class for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I like the stealth class. It's the most restrictive thing that we have as far as what I've liked to compete in with the few other orgs that I have done it in as well. I try and compete in the smallest or the most restrictive category out there, and I've always done fairly well in most of them. So stealth is where I like it. 200 inches
Yeah.
and less, and a 3K limit. I like it.
So what do you have in there? What subwoofers? How many?
My particular setup right now is a Sundown slash Directronics custom built sub, a Synergy 3K amp. I do use a 15-inch, which people will look at and say, wow, you're using a 15 in stealth. You can't do that. Well, yes, you can.
You're sealed up.
It's not sealed. It is ported, but
Too
I have a
small, huh?
very, very small port that measures about 2 by 11.
Wow.
And that comes in at about 22 inches. So the 176 on the sub plus another 22 gives me 198. That's
Wow.
under the 200 square inches. So
That's where you want to be. Yeah.
that's where it works. It doesn't perform optimal right there, but it works for stealth. And so far, it's got me just under 152 in testing quite often, and about a 152 in the shows as well. So it
Now,
works.
what'd you tune that port to?
It depends on the day.
Yeah.
Hotter days, I have to run a little bit higher frequency, but normally the box itself is ported at 46. It's tuned
Wow.
to 46. It likes everything from about 57 to 63. And I generally score the loudest. If it's a little cooler, I'll do pretty well at 59 or 60. But if it's warm, about 62 hertz.
Dang, that's a pretty good change.
And I will say around 62 because it's not exactly 62 hertz. If some people don't know the technical things about subs, and there is a difference that I've wanted other people to talk about between sensitivity and efficiency in the past, where sensitivity is just a rating that your manufacturers give you. They will go through all their tests and get their TS parameters. You'll see something on there generally called sensitivity, and that is how well your sub will play, or how loud, in this case, how loud your speakers get at a certain frequency. And most speakers are tested at 1K. Others are tested differently, but most of them are tested at 1K. We'll see other mid-range and other speakers that will get to be a lot different. They will be testing at 1 meter away, so about a little bit more than 3 feet out, 39 some odd inches away. The nice thing about that is that's just one thing that people have to look at to get their vehicles loud. It's not necessarily always where you're ported at that is going to be loudest, or what your vehicle may be the most efficient at. And I don't want to confuse those terms, where it's loudest and most efficient and where it is the sensitivity, where that is based. Sensitivity is a nice little marker to start with as far as how loud you think something might get when you start talking your power ratings. Those of you that don't know, if you start out with 1 watt, that's basically what your speaker should be at, is in free air, or however they're testing them. That's approximately how loud you're going to be. Then you multiply by 10. There's a formula for it that says every 10-fold increase in power. So from 1 to 10, 10 to 100, 100 to 1,000, 1,000 to 10,000, or from 500 to 5,000. That 10-fold increase should get you roughly 10 dB increase, or every doubling of your power gets you about a 3 dB increase. Yeah, those are nice for paperwork and things like that. But once you finally get things into a vehicle is when you can really start to test. And one of the great things about testing, as a lot of the people on here will tell you, especially, let's see, who on here do I see all the time? Steve Herman would be able to definitely verify this, along with a few other names I'm seeing here, like Paul Nazars, Tommy Lee, a few other people that have commented earlier. As soon as you get the stuff in the vehicle, that's when your real testing really starts. You've got to start looking at the volume on your radio. You've got to start finding out where that will start clipping and know that you can't go over that, because otherwise you're just going to destroy your scores. So you find a good non-clipping volume and start playing around with the frequencies a little bit. Change the port diameter a little bit. Change the structure of the port. Start your fiberglassing. Do all kinds of little things. After you do that, then again, you've got to go back in and you've got to test again. You've got to find where that sensitivity and that efficiency starts to max out in your vehicle. And only after you've done that for hours and hours, and then finally days and weeks and months, do you really start knowing your system. I personally have a little book that I've used and a spreadsheet on my computer that I will not share, that I've had for about 4 years, and it has almost every single score in it that I have ever tested with. Rainy days, cold days, hot days, in the middle of winter, even down to 20 below outside. I've got test information. So if I'm anywhere from the middle of Texas all the way up here in Sioux Falls, or if I want to go way up north into Canada somewhere, into the Yukon territories and test, chances are my spreadsheet is going to tell me exactly what I'm going to be doing, because I don't change much in my system. I've had nose scope on it and looked at it. Nothing clips where I'm at, so I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah. So now tell me
always
this.
testing.
I know now, was yours built? You didn't build for Base Wars, did you? You just built it.
I did.
This is
Originally, I
before
did
Base
not.
Wars come along, right?
Correct. Originally, I was built for a different organization in another class, but still, I was able to use a single 15.
So
And that works out very well for me still in Base Wars.
yeah. So if you did that port, were you limited by the class to make you keep that port that small?
No, in Base Wars, yes, because we look at the 200 inches as the max that we can use in stealth.
No, I mean
But
the
other
other org.
orgs, no. Other orgs, I was more limited by power and space in the vehicle.
So you just thought that 22 inches of surface area was good for what you wanted to do?
Yes, after, again, many hours of testing and several different box designs with my good buddy Mike Larson. Mike and I put in probably, I would guess in a weekend that we would put in between 15 and 25 hours worth of testing over 2 or 3 days. Generally just burps, but changing a port by a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch at a time, or smoothing out one piece of the box, or adding in an angle in the box, or pulling it out and trying a bigger angle. A lot of little things, like I said, it's all in the testing. It's like McDonald's with location.
Yeah.
Finding that right frequency and where everything peaks at in your vehicle is all about testing. So test on Monday, test on Tuesday, test on Wednesday. It's the way it has to be.
Yeah. So your box, is it musical?
That is the one thing that it is not. I will listen to almost anything in it on the way to a show, but my volume very rarely goes above, on a Pioneer radio, my volume goes to 62. And I generally run the volume at either 48 or 50. At about 54, 55 is where I start to see just a slight clip on it through my O-scope, on the RCA outputs anyway. I try not to listen to anything more than about 40 or 42 in the radio when I'm driving to and from a show, and that's about 115, 120 dB, which is more than enough to get over, general conversation and enough to listen to in your car.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so what do you got? About 1.5 foot? How much airspace for that 15? I don't know what that 15 requires because it's a Frankenstein one.
It is a Frankenwoofer.
Yeah.
The box itself is about, well, it is 15 inches wide. I can still fold up my back seat. So it is about 15, a little more than 15, about 15.13 inches wide, about 37 inches, 37 wide, 15 deep, and about 14 inches high. So it is about 2.6 cubic feet, but it is a relatively small box for a 15.
Yeah. Huh. So that's about 2 feet. Am I thinking two and a half?
Yeah,
2.5
about
feet?
2.5, give or take a little.
Yeah, 2.5 feet.
There's some internal bracing and some little secrets in the box, but nothing major that anyone doesn't know about as far as smoothing out corners. The interior of the box, it's not just 6 or 7 pieces of wood glued and screwed or nailed together and you have a box. There's angles in the corners that can be done, or there's rounded edges that can be done. Some people a couple of years ago used to swear by SPL tape, which
Yeah.
basically just go out and buy a roll of gorilla tape or your local duct tape and tape your woofer down because of the gasket seals on the bottom of them. Little things like that will generally help, but they don't always help.
Yeah.
So
So me just thinking out loud here, you have about half the port area that most people would think you would need to get loud.
yes,
Now, but you guys chose a smaller port area before it mattered, like before you started to operate in Base Wars, right? So you
yes.
chose 22 inches, let's say,
Mhm.
which is about half of what most people would put it at. So my question is, which parameter made you think, let me try this?
A couple things, really. It was one, just the tuning wasn't getting me to the number that I wanted. Um, when Mike and I were designing the box, we started out with a port that was about 7 inches wide by 11 and a half.
Oh,
We slowly started shrinking it down and saw that for about the first inch, our numbers actually got worse. But when we started shrinking it down even more, the numbers started increasing again. So
hmm.
I kind of played with it along with Mike and another friend that I have here in the Sioux Falls area named Phil Nelson. We've gone out and tested a couple of times with little things here and there and gotten it smaller and smaller and had to back off a little bit. I was actually down to about 1.5 inches wide for a while, but the numbers weren't the same, and that wasn't giving me the same results when I was also clamping power. But since I don't have to worry about that anymore, went back to where it was almost as loud as I've ever had it, and I'm happy with where it is at right now. I can still get up into the low 150s with a single 15, and even when I do clamp power, I'm still a low 150 score, 150.2, 150.3,
And that's
and
up to
simply
how much
porting
power?
gets me there. So, and that's on a little bit under 1,000 watts. But
Wow.
being at 3,000, I'm gaining a little bit more. I know that I am choking off the sub a little bit doing it, but yeah, as Paul says there, he knows that that isn't loud. But out of a single 15, if almost anyone doing a single sub, if you're doing 145, you're pretty loud. If you're doing 150, you're getting that loudness as well. That's
Mhm.
kind of what we're looking for with Base Wars. We're not concerned with you know too many other things with it as far as measurements of this or that. It's so far away from something, or it's taking up all of my real estate in the back. Uh, you know, that's one of the nice things about Base Wars is the rules cater to what exactly is loudest in your vehicle. So
That's true.
that definitely helps out. I would
That's
highly
true.
recommend anyone who's just looking to be loud, come to one of our shows. Even if you've never been there before, come on out, take a listen, and you will see everything from a system like mine that's about, without the Dynamat and the time, it's about $1,000 into my system only, maybe 1,200. And then
Wow.
there's other systems, and Paul, I'll pick on you because I know that your newest system ain't loud. Yeah, you're loud though, but you've also got thousands of dollars in subs and amps and everything else.
It's
So
true.
it's you can get anything from $1,000 shit box like mine to well over $100,000 in some of the vehicles that are out there. And that's kind of one of the nice things about it as well, is you can see that in any org. But Base Wars, we don't care about anything other than the size of the system and how much power you've got in it. We don't care where your wall is at. We're not into measuring 5 inches away from the ceiling or anything else like that. So
Yeah.
as long as you know what you're doing with it, price is never an issue for some people. Price is an issue for others, but as long as it's loud and you know where it's loud, again, that's why Base Wars is kind of nice. We let you put the meter in because you know your vehicle better than we do. I might see your vehicle quite often at a show, but that's the way it is.
Yeah. You know, that's key. I wanted us to be able to. I have just never thought that it was fair that if you have a vehicle that's louder on the glass, and that I have to put it on the glass if mine is loudest on the kick.
Mhm.
I just never thought that. Why do I have to make my vehicle loud where yours is loud? Naturally, and so that's the reason I say here, put it where you like, kind of thing.
Yep. And again, along with that, you will get some vehicles that it doesn't really matter. It may only be a tenth of a dB.
Right.
You'll have again another guy who competes up here in this area. His name's Eric Carver. He's got a Ford Focus wagon that he has a new wall in right now. And I didn't really believe him that the scores were going to be the same because I've seen his car before a couple times. But we put it on a kind of a legal dash locations according to some other orgs. And sure enough, just making up a number, it's 152. And we put it in the kick and it's 152.1. And you could move it back up to the dash in the same spot, 152. And it's going to be like that all day. So you need to, again, that goes with all the testing that is done. So we like to have a lot of fun at the shows, and if we can run you through the lanes a couple, 2, 3, 4, even 10 times sometimes, not just because you're in that many classes, but if we've got the time to do it, it helps out to know what your car will do.
Right.
Again, all that testing, write it down, especially all the new guys and gals that are out there. If you don't have a little notebook started already, my Festiva is a little blue car. I call it the Smurf. And I have 2 or 3 little blue notebooks. They're not little black books with all my, ex-girlfriend's names in them, but they're little blue books with all my SPL scores and dates and times, weather conditions, elevation, literally all kinds of things that happen that way. So write it down. You'll start to create a spreadsheet and find out exactly what you're going to do every day. So it's always a good thing to know what you will be able to do when you get to a show.
Now I'm not sure what it is yet. I don't watch many podcast type things like this. Honestly, I've really almost never watched one. Watched the kicker stuff a little bit, but I say that to say, I talked with Rob Collar earlier today, and he was telling me about a new something that the Term Labs got coming. I forget what he called it, but basically where it records all that for you, I think during your run. Well, how cool is that? If that's the case. That now I said the reason I said that about the podcast is he told me about one that he was going to be on today. It's called Sonic FX, and I didn't know what it was, so I searched it while we were on the phone. And it is I think it's just basically a guy that's a DB drag judge, and they do what we do. But it turns out one reason I probably never heard of it is because it's happening right now. So
Right.
we never see it. I don't think we've missed a day I don't know when we've missed a day, but anyway, so Rob's supposed to be on there talking about that new meter thing right now. And it, I think, records all that stuff.
There are a couple of newer features with it that I've heard the rumors about. I did just do the download on, is it Friday night or Saturday night of the update that came out early last week. I've known about some add-ons that were going to be thrown into it, little things that would kind of eliminate certain advantages that people in other locations or other countries may have, comparatively speaking. Overall, it's a good system to use. TermLab is, it's kind of the gold standard to go by with everything.
Yeah, I like it. It's really good. The only thing I don't like about it is the whole data thing.
Right.
I hate that. It is par below par in that regard. Right.
There are some kind of nice new features. I didn't play around with anything over the weekend with it. All I did with mine when I was out testing last night, I just find a big parking lot at the mall or something like that, or I've got a couple of hospital clinics here in town that have nobody parking in them on a Sunday night, and why would they?
Right.
So I go there and I base out for 15 or 20 minutes. I do a couple little polls and I'm done. Just want to get more time and a few more tests in with different time of day, kind of, okay, it was hot and muggy all day long, and that goes into my notes. But as far as what I've turned off, basically there's a couple features that I turn on or off, and that's really about it. I don't need to see much in the vehicle because it is a simple system. I can control almost everything that I need to from the driver's seat, really. I can control the throttle from there, so arguably I can control voltage to some extent to get a little bit higher rev. Okay, your alternator works a little better. You get 14.4 instead of 14.2 out of your batteries, so maybe that will help out a little bit. But 0.2 of a volt, 50, 60 watts maybe if you're pulling a couple hundred amps out of it. So not a lot of power extra, but it is still extra.
Yeah, that's right.
Again, it's it's one of those things that all we do is you get out, and tonight here in Sioux Falls right now, I've kind of got my drapes pulled in here, but a nice easy night to see everything and a decent night to test. It was pretty standard day today. I can hear the cicadas out in the tree right now, and I know it's still light out, but it's one of those things that at the end of the day, if everything is going good, you write down your temperature. You say, hey, it was humid today, or it rained, or whatever, and you write it down. So it's always fun to do. And again, I can't stress enough, write down everything. If it rained for 5 minutes, it may have cooled off the air, but your temperature in the car may have stayed the same. Or if you've been demoing all day, and then you run the lanes at the end of the day, well, things might be a little bit warmer at the end of the day as well. So there's many things to look at.
Right. Everything makes a difference, right?
Yep.
There's no pattern to it. You got to get that one vehicle and test. There's no book that says do this, this, and this. Every vehicle is different. Every subwoofer is different.
Yep. Even if you've got the same vehicle as someone else, there's a lot of Tahoes out there. There's a lot of Yukons out there. DJ, speaking of same vehicle, DJ and I run the same car. We both have a Ford Festiva. Now,
Right.
DJ's is wall, where mine is a single 15 in the back. Again, his is probably going to peak much lower, but he's also got a smaller airspace in front of that wall to deal with. So just because you've got 415s in a Tahoe versus 415s in a Yukon, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to peak the same or anything else. But if you've got
Right.
that data to help, and your buddy next door has the opposite vehicle, hey, maybe that data is kind of important sometimes. So
Yeah. Yeah. There's no pattern. No pattern. That's why it's such a struggle. Everybody wants that. What do I do to get loud? And every vehicle's different.
everybody is different. And something else with that is some people are very loud on music. Uh, we've got a guy up here, Lenny Iacovona, very loud on music, one
Mm-hmm.
high 50s, low 60s all the time, mid 60s if his batteries are charged up all the way, and a few other people that will approach those kinds of numbers on music.
I've
Um,
got I've got Lenny's trophy sitting right over there, and I think I called Jimmy when I saw his score. It's one of the
he's
musical
got some
class
good
scores,
scores.
and I was like, Jimmy, did this guy just do a 160? Are you sure? Right? He said, yeah. He said, I verified it. He said, I held the meter. I said, okay. But I
Yep.
was like, man, there ain't no way. But yeah.
Yeah. Lenny is definitely one of those guys. He has, I believe, he's got 615s or 618s in his vehicle. Uh, Depending on his mood, they're either team FIs or they might be some DC level sixes. Um, Arguably one of the better looking installs out there. I happen to like it. Couple batteries in the back, couple lithium banks in the back, uh, 6 amps in the back, one per sub.
Hmm.
And this vehicle really hasn't changed. I know Jimmy has talked about it in the past,
Yeah.
and Lenny's vehicle really hasn't changed much. He'll change out the subs or he'll change out something else if he blows something. But overall, it's a very solid, well built system. And
We
that's
were
that's kind of one of the things that kind of scares me about it as well, is I never see it break. So does
right.
that mean he's really not pushing it all that much as well?
Right. Yeah,
So
that's true.
what is Lenny's real number is always a question that I throw way out in left field or right field, and I've never asked him what it is, but I'm never totally impressed with his system when it shows up, and that sounds mean to say, but I don't think he ever gives it the full what it really can do. I think he's at about 92 or 93% most of the time. I think he's
Well,
always got a little bit more.
I think I've only really been on one time when he was being active with it, I guess, and that's been at least a year or so ago. But man, when I walked up on him, when I walked up,
Hmm.
I felt the heat from those subs.
Yep.
I know 5 feet, 10 feet before I got to his window. Right, it was hot,
Yep.
and he was just playing.
I remember talking with you about that at that Independence, Missouri show last year, one of the first shows that Jimmy did up here.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was, it wasn't even warm that day, really. It was maybe, I probably should go back and look since I've been talking about all my testing, but I don't remember it being, 85, 90 degrees or anything like that, because it was the end of March, if I remember correctly, or beginning of April. And it was, 70, 75 degrees out. It was a very beautiful day, nice parking lot atmosphere outside of I think it was a Tractor Supply store and the
Yeah,
automotive accessory place that was actually
yeah,
sponsoring the show for us, that was just
right.
half a parking lot away from us. And good show. Um, Had a lot of fun people that I saw there, and unfortunately haven't seen since then, because they've either sold their vehicles in the case of one of my friends, or they've gotten into something else, or have they've stayed at the southern end of the shows and have competed more in Missouri rather than coming up to central Iowa or any of the other shows that are closer to me. But shows like that, again, where you're at. Are you on asphalt? Are you
Right.
in a field? It's again, it's all testing. It's all those little things that you don't necessarily think about, but it does matter.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it definitely matters.
See,
Uh, I worry about that sometimes. Like when we do our finals in all the different spots, you know,
hmm
we're at sea level down this way.
right?
You guys aren't. you know,
Nope.
there's a difference, you know.
Depending on where we go, again, when some of the other orgs that I've been in, their elevation changes from 15 or 1600 feet down to 8 or 900, and there is a difference. Elevation probably is one of the great equalizers in car audio when you're measuring. If you start out in Miami and go up to Atlanta for a show, and I'll specifically talk a show that came around in the early 90s, Georgia Masters. I've been around for, oh God, I hate it when people brag about how long they've been around for, but some people have been around for a long time. I happen to be one of them. 93, I happened to be at the Georgia Masters. And this is a show that was going along with concurrently, or not really concurrently, but the same weekend of the Daytona Spring Break Nationals. The Nationals was set obviously in Daytona Beach. They did something there that was basically catering more so to the SPL folks, and the Georgia Masters was more toward the SQ people. And there were people in Georgia that were complaining because they tested somewhere they didn't realize the elevation difference. And the only people there that seemed to realize it, and now is the fun part where I get to drop names of who I saw and who I heard, the people that were doing it that were not complaining were Richard Clark, Harry Kimura, whose
Right.
car, quite honestly, Harry has the best car that I've ever seen or heard. No discredit to anyone else that I'm going to mention, but Harry's car was the best.
Hmm.
And as some 21, 22-year-old punk kid, uh, you know, that's to hear it back then was awesome. To hear it now, if I could still hear the car, I know someone else has it. Uh, I'd love to hear it again. It would just be awesome. But
Hmm.
those two, Richard Clark, Harry Kimura, Thomas Serba, Chris Lewis, who became an editor with, I believe it was Car Stereo Review uh, at that show. Those guys weren't complaining because they had been testing.
Right.
And the only real complaint that I heard was a legitimate complaint that they were going to recalibrate the mics so that other people the next day could run I believe it was it was an IASCA show at the time, and they were going to recalibrate the mic overnight. And several of the competitors did not like that because, well, why are you going to recalibrate it? Their score might be different.
But
And
that was back in the days of the B&K, right?
exactly, that was
So it
back in the
needed
day
to be
of the
recalibrated.
B&K meter. That
Yeah.
was the Audio Control 3050,
Ah,
and it
yeah,
was
okay.
a small, it was a small condenser mic. It was maybe 5 inches around or so, had a
Right.
standard mic cable going into it, and your RTA sat outside the car. There was nothing done for clamping. There was no other sensor that was done in the vehicle. It was all done with the same microphone for RTA, same microphone for the sensor, and it was always in the same location. So the complaint basically was going to be that, hey, we are going to use the same sensor, but we're going to recalibrate it. And the nice thing about it, some of the people that did it were like, okay, that's fine, whatever. We'll redo this part tomorrow. Our scores aren't going to change, so everyone still has to beat us. Whereas the people that didn't do their testing and didn't do their homework, which were very few and far between, because these were the top 50 or 60 SQ people in the world, they didn't mind. And for a new update to come out or something else that comes out with it, you know, going back to the testing, did anything change with it? And in the grand scheme of things, no, nothing really changed. Is a new update going to change for it? Yeah, there are going to be certain features that we can turn on and off with TermLab that may make it a little bit easier or may make it a little bit more fair in terms of elevation or a power rating. If we can see things, if we do start clamping, if we can see those little changes, it just simply adds to the information that you or myself have for it. And obviously, more information is not always a bad thing.
Right.
So it
Usually
definitely
pretty
helps
good
out.
thing. Yeah.
And yeah, I was, Paul, you were a young little whippersnapper back then, 3 years old in 93.
Right.
I'd already installed more, I installed stuff more back then than I ever did. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Need to test more. Phil Nelson. No, Phil, I don't want to test tonight. It's dark. Or it's getting dark.
Yeah, it's way dark.
Here's still kind of light out here up until about 8:15 or so when the sun actually goes down. But I saw a couple other questions up there running off of battery bank. Saw something up there from Steve asking that. Yeah, batteries are nice. Batteries let you run for a long time, but if you don't know what you're doing with them, I'd almost want to ask Phil specifically what happened with his on Saturday. His little battery mishap with a jumper pack.
Oh.
A lithium jumper pack that kind of caught fire and had some issues. Let's just say that. It was not with me or with him, but something else. So that's a good thing. No one was hurt. Maybe a little pride here and there, but nothing more.
Yeah. Says you got a flashlight.
Oh, flashlights don't help at night. Need stadium lighting. You got to be able to see it all.
Said Dan, you're quiet.
Quiet, nothing. I've been doing all the talking, Dom. I'm not quiet at all.
Right. That may have been my evil plan.
Now there's a Dan that's quiet that just jumped in, a Dan Current. I got to ask him if he's got his Panda Express tattoo yet for free food for life. I think he should get one.
Yeah, I hadn't seen Dan in a minute. Though I need to contact him daily. I keep forgetting. To hate it when that happens.
I said I got him on Facebook on a comment that he kind of liked, and I said he was talking about something on there, and I came back with him, and he's not loud for a guy who demos all day, but only at half volume, which is again kind of true, but not really. Dan's one of those guys. He loves to show up at the shows. He loves the Demo Dominator stuff, and he will demo all day long. And there are times when he will be 8 or 9 cars away from his vehicle while people are just sitting in it, just getting their demo. And he won't pay any attention. He'll just turn up the volume and say, "Don't touch it," and just let it go. And people will do that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Definitely loves doing the demos.
Yeah, he metered once though, you know.
He may have metered once, maybe twice. I'd have to look at the sheet.
Did a 46 and change, if I remember right.
I was going to say maybe 46 or 47, perhaps,
Yeah, 46 and change, if I remember right.
and probably 6 feet out the door as well.
Uh, I don't remember. I remember him doing. I was up there that day. I think I was. Yeah, he metered.
Yep. Let's see. Billy, why can't we send stars on the podcast?
What is a star? What does he mean?
What's the star, Tommy? I'm not sure. Are you like talking like a like star or like a thumbs up? And yeah, Diaz on there. Dan's been chasing down the Panda Express locations. He's always chasing down the Panda Express locations.
Have you ever met Robert? Robert is that's the one I was telling you. I was telling everybody that is going to be doing it with us down in Florida. He's going to be a judge down in Florida.
I know of Robert through Facebook. I have never met him though.
Yeah.
Same, obviously, same with Jordan and DJ as well. I know him through Facebook. Probably chatted once or twice, or commented on something once or twice, and which actually that brings up something else. Not that I want to change topics all that abruptly, but when people are messaging the Facebook page, there are, I'm just going to pick a number, there's 7 of us that can see those comments. If I happen to be the one that responds to you, generally I will type my name at the end of it so that everybody else can see that I'm the one stating something.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of requests on there for wall information, and if this is going to be legal, or if that is legal, or is this show happening, or is that show happening? 9 times out of 10, that information is either going to be directly on the Facebook page, or it is going to be in the rule book. Little things about specific shows. Always check out the event list, find out who the judge is going to be, and not that I don't want the rest of the Base Wars community to know, but those kinds of questions should probably be directed toward that particular region person.
Yeah.
Whether it's DJ or Jordan or myself or Jimmy or Billy or whoever is doing it.
So you'll see before too long.
But yeah, we see a lot of those kinds of questions.
These events, these graphics right behind me, that is what's on our event pages, and eventually it will have your photo on yours and Jimmy's on his. Everybody's going to have their photo on their own. So that'd be real quick, easy. They'll know who to contact, kind of thing.
Yep.
Right. That's kind of the plan with that. And also, I worked on the website a little bit today, and so it won't be long. We'll have some data there that'll be pretty easy for everybody to get.
I saw that. I still have a link on my desktop right away that goes to the old Base Wars page, and I clicked on that really quick, and it got there. I like the look.
Did it go to the website?
Yes, it did. I like the link.
Yeah.
I like the link. I like the look of it.
So, guys, I'm not done. Don't go to it. I have had it forwarded, but when I go to test it and I want to look at it not logged in, I can't do it unless I unforward it from Facebook. So I had it directed to Facebook. So now it's not forwarded, but don't go there yet. Right.
I like the look of it. I don't know if I like the big red background yet, but I do like how bright it looks. That looks awesome.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what it'll be. I really have only spent about 2 hours on it today. I spent about 6 hours educating myself on it over the weekend to be able to do it. I'll be honest, man, and I ain't complaining about this because I'm enjoying all of it. Okay. But I'm studying up on how to do Google Sheets because me and Steve Herman haven't gotten together yet. I'm studying up, coding a website, editing videos. There's something else that's pretty involved that I'm having to learn right now. I don't remember what it is, but anyway, I could just sit all day learning this stuff and YouTube and stuff to get something done. It just takes me 10 times longer if I were to hire a professional to do it, you
Right.
know, but we don't have the funds to hire the professionals. So you're looking at him. Right. So I got to work on that data this weekend. After I made that graphic, it took a long time to come up with the data for that graphic for the member loudest. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this again. So I started playing with the data to come up with what you guys now see on those spreadsheets. But it's not an easy come up with from that. So I hope that what I can create, or that Steve and I can create, is that when we put our input into our sheets, that it will autofill that list and they can always go look at it.
Mm-hmm.
It really ain't that far from being able to have that done. So took a little while, but
should be able to get a lot of things done with that once that website is up, because
yeah. Well, now that's the
questions can
data.
be
Getting the
answered
data then to the website's another story, right? But we'll see. We'll get it done.
Yeah, and as Steve just said there, that the spreadsheet is, that spreadsheet is a long time in coming. It was something that people were asking about 2 minutes after finals were over. Where's the list of the loudest scores that we've ever had? And that might come up later on, that we do a previous before this year. But
what I really want is a bulletproof way to get to the point that I got it to, because there are some things, that if I don't just remember, and I don't go and do it, then it won't be there. I don't like depending on me or anybody. I'd rather have the computer autofill. There's some better ways. I just don't know how to code it to make it happen. But and I know this makes no sense because the people watching really hadn't seen how we input the data. So I know it doesn't make sense. But anyway, just know that we've been working hard on that data to try and give you guys something like that. I'm going to still make a graphic out of what you see. But, man, there's a lot of people that thought they were members that weren't, because they paid so late last year, right before finals. I let that, we did that. And so they did pay this year in April, which is just a few months ago. And they're like, well, why I got to pay again? And I told everybody, whenever they paid, I said, man, it's only good for a week or two. You sure you want to do this? They're like, yeah, man, I want to come to finals. Okay. But now here we are 4 months later or 5 months later, however long it is. And I'm like, and they're like, man, I know I paid. And I go back and look, yeah, you did. But that was back in, March.
Yeah, you paid on March 1st, and that ran up until the weekend of.
Yeah. Same way with scores. People are like, man, I know I did a higher score. Why on the list? I'm like, well, that was back in, December last year. You did do it. But that list is just this year. It's just this year from April up to now.
Yep. And now that we do have the list that you guys, that I have to say you guys, because I have nothing to do with who is on the list other than I hold a show and you guys put the meter in the car. That's all Billy and Steve and anybody else that has worked on those particular Google spreadsheets that are out there.
So far, I take those files that you guys email me, and I use that, and it's all me right now. But originally, I had tried I was going to let you guys input on that sheet, right? The only problem is the sheet is delicate, and only because I created it do I know what I don't need to delete and what I do. And when I say delete, I mean by accident. So like if you fill out this field and then you hit delete it, well, you're deleting a formula, not just the data that you're looking at.
Right.
And now that field, the next time you put something in it, doesn't have the formula in it. And so it doesn't work. So little things like that. So I was like, I'll just do that. Y'all just send me the stuff and I got you.
Yep.
Right.
It is almost easier, and yes, it is time consuming, because then there are, well, let's say that Chet runs 2 shows, Saturday and Sunday. Jimmy runs a show. I run a show. Jordan runs 2 shows. You run a show. Well, right there's all of a sudden 6 shows.
Right.
Each one, I'll be generous and say that we each get 30 competitors at it. All of a sudden, that's 30 unique people, and some of them may not have competed before, whereas some of them may have competed and are members. That's going to be 6 shows times 100 or 30 times 6. That's 180 names that you've got to search through and enter in. And let's say that it takes an hour per show. There's Monday.
Right.
And whatever you wanted to get done on Monday is now on to Tuesday. And now you've got to make room for everything that you promised on Monday that didn't get done, or late Monday night or late Sunday night, or whenever we happen to get you those words and or those emails. And yeah, it's like Steve said there in a comment about a minute or two ago. He said, making time soon, but life throws us curveballs, and it does. Summertime in the South, I've been in Bristol, Tennessee before during the summer. I have been in the Florida Keys during the summer when storms have come through, and they will severely mess up your plans for a good 2 or 3 days. And that doesn't seem like a long time, but when you don't have power, or if you are taking care of someone who has medical issues or anything else, 5 minutes is a long time. And when you're talking 5 hours, it's even worse. So let's see.
So
curveballs. Yep. Oh, Mike Davis. Good question there, Mike.
yeah. So Mike Davis, this is what I usually do is the last time we did a members, it lasted for almost 2 years because I usually do it from finals to finals, right? So I didn't have a finals at the same time. And so it just extended about 6 months extra, I guess. So that particular membership got, you know, they got 18 months for that one. This year probably be 12 months if we do the finals in March or April again, right? But next year, and I don't even know if I'll charge one for next year, but next year it's going to be shorter because we're going to get to that September, October timeline to have our finals. That's when I want to have them. And we're going to get there one of these years. We stretched it because of COVID and all that stuff, but we want to get back on the schedule that we wanted, which is October is what I want. You know, we're careful not to step on Midwest toes as far as their finals, you know, and that's the reason we didn't do it in October this year. But next year we'll pick a different one and just a week or two before or something like that and do it. We can't just dodge everybody's finals, you know. Yeah, September would be. I like September. I like October a little better, but I like September. It's cooler. The drawback to April is it rains a lot in April, and so you know we're not renting stadiums and stuff. We don't have sponsors that pay for that kind of stuff like the other orgs do. So, we're outside.
Yeah, honestly, if someone wants to rent out the Orange Bowl for us or the Rose Bowl, I'll be more than happy to drive. But until that happens, and until Billy pays for my hotel room, probably not happening.
You know what I thought about doing, which I'm not going to do, is I talked with Rob about us doing it. Callers Call Out is in March this year. And I thought about doing it in March, and we could just on our end down here, we could do it at that show, right? But I got to get coordinated with you guys and talk with Chet and see what he'd be up and going by then. Robert, you know, we got to all have spots on that very same day. These guys up in South Carolina, right? We all have to have spots on the same day at the same time, knowing that there's hours difference. There's from the East Coast to West Coast. We're not having by on the West Coast, but so not really worried about that right now. But I'm just saying, if it ends at 4 here, it might be 6 where they are. That kind of thing. So got to plan all that.
Yep. Yeah, we're going to be busy.
But to answer his question, which I never really did, I guess I should go back to it. To answer his question is, we don't really have a definite start end time, but it's usually from finals to finals. I don't want you to have to pay for 2 memberships before you hit a finals. Don't want that. I don't want you to have to pay twice just to come to a finals once. I don't want to do that. I want to be fair. I don't think that's fair. So,
right.
I don't know if the smart thing would be just to say, let's pick a date, and this year it's going to renew every year. But if I did that and then we didn't have a finals a certain year, then in other words, I don't want to be holding you hostage to make you pay a membership if the finals didn't happen within that 12 months, that kind of thing, which is why I don't make the membership happen when you sign up. Right. So anyway, there's no definite answer to that, sir. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And again, it kind of goes along with who can we get that is accommodating, as Dan's putting up there, with plenty of parking, hotels, noise issues, where he's asking if Steve has a place for us. It goes along with that. Can we get it, or is there food nearby, or do we have friends or friends of friends who run a food truck that would be there for 3 or 4 hours on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon? Possible fees that come into play, having 3 different locations and doing this. There's noise issues, obviously, that we deal with all the time, but having the right location is key. Whether we've got asphalt or a small arena or what have you, it's a matter of just finding the time and the right location for all of us that we can use.
Right. It's
not necessarily, and not necessarily at a moment's notice, but can we scout out those locations, make sure that they will handle us okay? No residential area, or is it in an industrial area that's already used to it? Again, food, parking, shelter. Do we have a backup location? We do get snow up here in April and May occasionally.
I know, right?
As early as October, or most of the times in October. But I've seen it snow here in Sioux Falls on my birthday on May 7th. So very late to the year. But I've also seen it snow in September.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know it's a risk for sure.
Yeah.
So listen, normally this is 50 points or 5 shows is what gets you to finals.
Mm-hmm.
We had downgraded it a little bit because of COVID last year, but normally it's 50 points. You get points of first place is 10 points, second place is 5 points, third place is 3 points. You get an extra point just for entering. So if you don't place, you still get 1. If you got a decal on your vehicle, you get another point. And if you demo your vehicle, you get another point. So you can get 13 points pretty easy if you win first. So, and they're starting to have more shows up you guys' areas, especially we got Dan and Jimmy up there now.
Mm-hmm.
But down here, I mean, I could make it 100 shows and these guys would still get it with no sweat. We have a lot of shows around here. So, anyway, that's the scoop on
that. To answer that as well here for Dave. Dave, you take first place and you get your sticker on the car, and you give a demo or even just 2 little demos to a couple of other folks that may have been there. You get demo points. You get 13 points for showing up basically and taking first place if you demo and you've got a sticker.
Yeah.
You take first place, you get 11 points because you entered, and you get 10. Yeah, 1 point for entering and 10 points for the first. So basically, every first place that anyone has gotten is 11 points.
And I had put that on the spreadsheet that I just put out there, and then the data jacked up on me, and I took it off. I'll put it back once I figure out why it messed up. Right? So I had to take the points off, but I'll put it back on that spreadsheet.
Yep. Now, also, aside from a decal, and Billy, you can tell me you don't want to do this, but I have told people as well that in lieu of a sticker, if you have one of your license plates on your car that says Base Wars and it is your last win, in my mind, that qualifies for it, provided that you're not driving on the roads with it on there. You're not being illegal. But if that is on your car,
that's why it's the decal, because it stays on there.
Yep, the decal stays on there. So if you forget it at home, sorry, you don't get the point.
Right.
I'm not going to give you a point just because you showed because you showed up. I'll give you the point for being there and entering. But sorry, Mike. The amount for it is $25.
Right.
And that Billy has a link on the page for it on the main Facebook page of where to send that for the membership.
Yeah, you can pay the guys at the table, or you can send it to $ Base Wars or Bill or PayPal Bill at basewars.org. $ Base Wars is Cash App though.
Yeah, Robert, you can do that as well with your Base Wars license plate, but chances are it's going to cost you more than $5 or $10 for the decal.
Right.
You get a $60 plate. That's why I'm saying, hey, put Base Wars on your car. That way, I will give you the point.
Yeah.
You're spending money. It's not with us. So you might have a mystery deduction somewhere, but
Oh, that has not got really much to do with the money. It's about to do with the promotion.
Very true. If you're driving your car 365 and it says Base Wars on your license plate, I'm cool with that. That's not an issue.
Yeah. No doubt. So what were you speaking of, David? I don't know. Is it in the
rule book? There's a lot of things in the rule book. Which
I think I put the amount of points in there.
The amount of points is in there.
Huh?
The amount of points is in there for it. I have it pulled up on here. How do you calculate points? It is on page 3 at the bottom.
Yeah.
You get your 10 points for first, 5 for second, and 3 for third. You get 1 point for entering, and then another point for a decal on your vehicle, and 1 point for demoing and talking to spectators and competitors about it. Again, that is on the bottom of page 3, and it is $25.
Right. Yeah. Oh, so let me talk about this now that he mentions that. So we had a show scheduled in Jackson, Mississippi area for this weekend at a car show. They moved the car show, and the place they moved the car show to is not real keen on having base there. So, and honestly, most people that it's a car show, and most car show people don't really like it either. Old cars kind of thing. So so that show got moved. I wish I had not canceled the event, but I canceled it once I learned of this. And then we found another location to have the show. So it really is just moving from where it was originally in Pearl, got moved to Roosevelt State Park. Now we are going to be at B&M in Byram, Mississippi this Saturday. That's what that's the show he's speaking of. Mike Davis is speaking of. So had I been a little bit slow about canceling that event, I could have just changed the address and changed the stuff, but I'd already canceled it, and then I had to just recreate it. So
it's not even that there, Kraft. It's the Dan Current of the world. Those guys.
Right.
It's if Jimmy would ever drive out the new Crossfire van and toy around with that. it's that they probably don't like. And it's kind of what I said at the beginning. It's, you get some people that like the media darling right now with the Carolina stance, or they don't like their low riders, or they don't like their Honda and Nissan imports. It's all about cars. We are part of that large car community, and we're just a different aspect of it that they either don't understand or don't like. And the more information that we can get to them, the better it is for us. And maybe we'll get some of those old guys. Maybe we could have a collector car something someday.
Well, it's one thing. Honestly, I never really minded the bass much, but some of the stunt walls, and I won't include Dan's in this. Some of the stunt walls that I go to that are down South Florida, man, I mean, they are very, very painful to even walk behind. To me, when I can't do business, when I can't talk to you, man, that's too loud. Who wants that, right? When you can't have a conversation, 100 yards away, somebody just needs a butt whipping. My opinion, right?
That is true. Every once in a while, well, even at the car shows, you get some of them have the burnout contest. Some of them have the dynos that are portable. I'm going to one here in 2 weeks. I've got to talk to a couple people to see if I can get in last second if they would have us up here. Most people are down with a small area of us to be over there, but I don't know if they'd be able to handle 30 or 40 cars,
man.
Which doesn't seem like a lot. But yeah, if some of the car shows would be, I don't want to say more understanding, but perhaps more accommodating.
Well, yes, that, and also I would say this: if they would play music that people like rather than just techno bullcrap that nobody cares about, right? Play something that people like. Put on a concert if that's your jam, right? But when they got nothing but tweeters popping off, it's like, dude, do us all a favor. Make me not want to beat your ass and just cut it down. Right? Play some whatever. Play the stuff you would hear on the radio that people like in clubs or whatnot,
Even play the radio even. Because even there you're still promoting the local. So, I love promoting my local places around here, and far be it for me to tell you not to go to a shop. But one of the worst things that can happen is you hear your competition on the radio at your own show.
Right.
But yes, that's going to happen, unfortunately. Being the Ford dealer or the Chevy dealer, you're going to hear their other ad, especially this weekend, the holiday Labor Day sales and whatnot. So, yeah, even play the radio.
I was trying to do some business at my tent, and this guy, he just kept playing his stuff, and I went over there and I had to have a conversation with him, right? I done told him to turn his vehicle around on point at my tent about 4 times. He kept turning it back up, and I was done. So I went over there to where he was, and I told him, I said, man, this ain't working. You need to leave. Right? And so we had a couple of words or whatever, and we got to talking about the music that he was playing. I was like, you may be liking it, but nobody else here likes it. Right? That's what I told him. And he was like, okay. Turns out his vehicle would not play music. It would only play those really highs. He had in order for to play the mids well, it wouldn't be very loud. Right? And if you look on the tent that you will get, if you look on Jimmy's tent, on my tent, on all our tents, it says it's not how loud you play it, it's how well you play it loud. My God, people, please take heed to that. Man.
10% distortion is nice if you're, in the front row at Megadeth or Metallica or any other band, which I've been to their shows. They're not clean. They play loud, but it is not loud.
Right.
There is a difference. Yeah, some of them are loud and obnoxious. And again, while we do kind of cater to that, play something that is dynamic. Don't play one little frequency all day long. Play something that actually shows off the full range that your system should be able to do. Not saying you got to
See,
play music because
but
music is,
that's just
again,
key. These people, a lot of these people creating these, I'm gonna say they're getting better, okay? But a lot of people that have created these, they just know loud, and they actually think that distortion is what loud means. They don't understand. They don't understand. That it just sounds like dog dirt. I hate to tell them, but I do.
yeah, you
Right?
can listen
Aim it at my
to,
tent and I have to hear it all day. You're gonna hear
yep,
it.
you get
Right?
some of the high end audiophile guys who are into the home stuff.
Yeah.
And I want to pick on them for a minute because there is no difference from a $10 RCA to a $10,000 RCA. It still provides signal. That being said, there are those guys who will say that most of the time that when you are listening to your music and you're listening to it in a audiophile situation, you're probably only using 5 to 6 watts, maybe 10 watts of power. You don't need to have 50 or 100,000 watts. And while I can sympathize with that and can certainly agree with that in an audiophile setting, if I am truly testing out a set of speakers, I don't really listen to them all that loud. I want to be able to hear all the resonance and the transition in the speakers. I want to be able to hear that. I don't necessarily need to be able to hear all the distortion that comes with a lot of systems.
Right.
And yeah, does Dan know
Well,
anything about distortion?
there's something that
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know about the stunt walls, and this is what it is. So if you're setting up a SQ car, you try to create a soundstage like as if you're sitting at a concert, front row. You're trying to create that. If you're doing SPL, you're trying to create that number to go up. You're trying to create a tornado, wind or whatever. That's what we do in SPL. But for the stunt walls, I don't know what their goal is. I don't know if they have a goal. Some of them sound really good. Some of those down in South Florida, I heard there was one. It was yellow, and I don't know who it was, but it was a yellow, like one of those really ugly Toyota vehicles. It kind of looks like a Jeep, but it's not a Jeep. Cross between a Jeep and a Hummer, that Toyota thing. Anyway, best one I have ever heard playing. He turned that thing up. I was 100 yards away, and it sounded amazing. Cody Cumbia's, his sounds good. So this is what I say. You, Dan, in your car, any of us that's ever did a SQ system whatsoever, you've probably time aligned it. To get it right, you've probably time aligned it. And I'm telling you, from 100 yards away, if you're not time aligning it, it's going to sound like dog dirt.
Oh yeah.
It's not going to hit the same.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's a thing for them. I don't know if they get it. I don't know what their goal. Are they trying to create that concert? If they are, they're missing miserably. But what's their goal?
Part of that goal is just simply the dispersion of the sound. They want as many people to hear it from right here in front of you to 10 feet away on something that is 20 feet wide. And unfortunately, you can't really do that in such a small space. It's very hard to do. So getting it as a big sound, they make up for it with 1,000 watts or 10,000 watts or 50,000 watts or more. And it's not that it doesn't look decent or that it looks silly or it doesn't sound good or it's really bad because of crossover points or missing like Dan just said, they're missing a ton of bandwidth because you're not really playing anything above or below, say, 100 hertz till your mids kick in at 250 or 300.
Right.
And then you're missing out from 1K to 4K because your 80 pairs of $20 tweeters can't handle it. But you're missing the point of the music, which is to simply communicate sound. And as long as music has been around, that's all people want to do. Some of it has to be quiet. Some of it has to be loud.
Right.
That's why we've got 5,000 genres of music that have come and gone. No one listens to go to a show right now. I may be the only guy there who actually has Yo-Yo Ma playing on his system.
Right.
And chances are I'm probably the only one who's got Yo-Yo Ma on a stock USB drive that I specifically picked that track for. If someone wants to listen to my little Festiva, and they want to hear Yo-Yo Ma, I can do it. If they want to hear the latest Florida Georgia Line, or they want to hear the new tune by Guns N' Roses, or they want to hear something that's rebased, go right ahead. I've got that as well. But it's all in the, I would say, the eye of the beholder, but in our case, it's in the ear of the beholder. And,
right. And everybody hears differently as well.
Exactly.
You know, so that's the problem with SQ is you tune that SQ car to what somebody thinks sounds good, but the next judge or the next person may not think that sounds good. And so that's where, when you get judged and scoring on that, that's why it's such a hard thing to compete in. And it not seem like it's subjective or they're playing favorites, because everybody hears differently and everybody likes different kinds of things. And so, you know, I'm preparing a Base Wars version of an SQ, you know, and that's when Steve Herman, we're going to clamp those. That's what we're going to do. And so I've already read the rule book. I've already got the score sheet, you know, but I'm going to, for Base Wars, we're going to finish this year, get you guys up and going. And I'm going to take next year to kind of learn to support you guys and be better with this data, and, you know, try to solidify us on the areas that I know are a little bit weak. And once I get that done, then I will step out and start some little SQ shows, oftentimes right next to you guys or right there at your show, you know. But that's the plan, because I love SQ, right? I'm an SQ guy. Now I'm going to have an SQ with a big wall behind me, you know, but that's just me. Right.
And part of that in the SQ category is, again, other orgs, especially old Iasca, when they were judging SQ, they had to have it at roughly a certain volume, which certainly helped out, but definitely would hinder other people. You might not be able to hear it enough, or it may be too loud at that particular volume. That, again, goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the show with sensitivity and efficiency. Some speakers are very nice at 100 or 105 or even 110. Other cars, you might not even be able to hear anything at 105 because some of the frequency is extremely quiet, or on the opposite end is extremely bright or loud.
Right.
So it will, SQ is one of those things that is very demanding, and as you said, Billy, it is extremely subjective.
Yeah,
just because someone has brand ABC instead of 1, 2, 3, and I rep for the blue brand, hey, sorry, man, you're not using mine. I'm giving you 3 out of 10.
Right.
So that also is something to know. Also is something to know that what are my musical tastes? What do I actually like? I myself, I am a huge fan of ZZ Top, Rush, Joe Satriani. At the same time, again, I go back to what I just said 5 minutes ago. I've got Yo-Yo Ma, I've got Beethoven, I've got Bach, I've got Liszt, I've got all kinds of free-based music. I've got people that I like their solo music from, but can't stand the bands that they're in, or vice versa. Um, it really depends on who's going to judge it and what their opinions of a system are. The rules are, very specific. Does it fit? Yes, okay, 3 points. Does it not fit? Not as much. Okay, you get 2 points. And the next week, does it sound a little better because you changed something, or did you not? But I'm having a better day. You might get 6 and 5 points. So,
back in the day,
extremely subjective.
Right. Back in the day, we used to keep notebooks of all the judges and what they said. What they told us verbally and what was written on that score sheet often wasn't the same thing. But we would keep notebooks of what they said. So the next time I would come across, say, Joe Smith, judge, I'd look, okay, last time he said my subs were up too high. Well, I had my whole wall cut off. The subs weren't playing at all. And he gets out and says, man, your subs are just too loud. No. What can you do,
I've had that happen myself once or twice at old shows from back then. And again, even back then, I've got notebooks in my toolbox that are from high school. And I graduated in 92. So I've got notebooks that are 30 years old that I still have notes in from that stuff.
Right.
And again, I don't want to hammer it home that much, but test, and write down everything. That kind of information. Okay, who was my judge that day? Oh, it was Dan Current and Robert Diaz. As I'm looking at their comments here, those were the two SQ judges. Okay, Robert liked it a little more than Dan, but Dan favored the install a little more, or something else. That kind of comes into play. So if you know that someone likes something a little better, or that they scored it a little higher or lower, again, subjective. What do I like versus what would I have done in the vehicle can also come up. So, yeah, again, it's going to depend on your daily driver sometimes too. Can you do this?
Right. I want to touch on this right quick for Shane. So that's coming up soon, I think week after next. But as it stands right now, he doesn't have power. And so we got that one. That first one's kind of in limbo, just basically because of power. If he gets power, I think he wants to still do it. But that's a problem we have in that Louisiana area. A lot of those guys have really got hit hard, man. So power will be the determination whether we get to have that show right there or not.
I will put in my 2 cents on that it's kind of rude to ask us to have the show if the town itself is not ready. I tell you what, I left in an area like that.
Yeah,
my sympathy and my apologies go out, but it's hard to do anything like that. And
I left that to Jordan and the host location owner, the one they canceled. I don't know. I don't know if the town would care or not. I don't know if it's insensitive. I don't know. I know I don't live there, so that's the reason I kept my mouth shut about it. Right. But I don't know if it's the whole town, I don't know. Is it half the town and what's normal?
Yeah.
Is it some of those guys are pretty dang resourceful. They lost power, and I know some of them ain't miss a beat. They just got their stuff out that they had prepared for, and happy go lucky, right? Some of the guys, though, you can prepare all you want, but if it takes your preparations, then you out, because they got hit really hard, man. So, I don't know, but I just leave that up to the host and the judge, whoever wants to do it. If it's a sensitivity thing or not. I'm honestly, I'm not very good at that. So I just leave that up to other people.
That's up to, if it's my show, that's up to me and the host site to figure out,
Right.
are they still willing to do this? Are they comfortable with me doing this? Do they need, can we have the show from 2 in the afternoon until 5, but everyone that's there from 10 to 2 help out with something as a charity donation kind of thing?
Yeah.
Uh, can
Hey,
I again be more accommodative myself? That
yeah.
always comes into play too.
Yeah, I get locked up where I don't know if it's a you shouldn't do it kind of thing, or if you should do it because it would lighten everybody's spirits,
Mhm.
kind of thing. I mean, I don't know, uh, but I think they made the right call on this last one for sure by not doing it.
Mhm.
You know, you know, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not real sensitive, right? I'm not very good at that. I guess that'd be a easy way to say it. So I would not be good at making that decision. I usually make the host locations make those decisions. If they want to do it, then I'll come do it, kind of thing. When I've had a issue like that before, you know. Uh, but I also remember setting up my tent during a hurricane in Slidell. So probably not the smartest when it comes to the weather anyway. you know, people were cutting out of Dodge, and I'm setting up my tent. Did that during a hurricane. Forget which one it was, but yeah. But anyway, so man, I guess we've been going on for about an hour and 45 minutes. Seems like about 20 minutes, doesn't it? So
It
we're
seems like I've been talking for 5 minutes. So, and people that
right,
know me
right,
would say, "My God, is he ever going to shut up?"
right. We just keep on coming back then. Maybe we work it out to where you and Jimmy doing the show and I'd be the producer,
Hey, there you go. We can
right?
always do that. We can have the
See, I would be on here all the time, but my head just too shiny. And you see them lights, it just doesn't work well. So I just think I should probably bow on out of it, but that's just me. Right?
well. The nice thing is here is this is, I don't have the nice shiny background yet because I didn't play around with StreamYard yet to get something in the back. But you know, something back here that says Base Wars or one of my favorite brands or something. And no, I'm not even wearing my blue shirt tonight for this. So it's
Right.
kind of one of those things where that's what you got to get known for. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
that's
Jimmy and
true.
I do something next week or a couple weeks from now or something coming up here. He's got a couple of shows. I don't even have the list up in front of me right now, but I believe he has a show this weekend coming up. I know this is one of the things we normally do at the end of the show is to come up with some things like this. So
Right.
me look here at the computer and try and figure something out.
Hmm.
I do not yet have any shows coming up, so that unfortunately is all on me. I've reached out to quite a few folks lately and tried to get some things set up for still this month and for last month. Been able to get a couple things set up early next year, but I don't have anything specific yet. Let's see. It looks like, let's see. It looks like we have a few events coming up here this weekend.
I know Jordan's got a couple. I think I don't know if I don't know what.
Let's say it looks like Jordan has two. I know that in 3 weeks, coming up the last weekend of September, that Jimmy has a large multi-organization event again in Sioux City or South Sioux City, as I'm kind of remembering now that location has been changed a little bit and moved and played with a little bit here for what we're calling Boom Timber up here.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try and come to that one. If I don't have anything that day. So this weekend, Jordan's got Shreveport,
Mm-hmm.
and Jake is doing one in Jackson, Mississippi, and then Jordan has nope, that'll be me. I guess this weekend in Biloxi, the 9th. Is that this weekend? Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that'll be me, unless Jake wants to come to it. But yeah. So right now, I think I kind of plan that to be me. But this beatdown, that's the one we're talking about. It's a power thing. So yeah, it looks like Jimmy's got the weekend off.
Okay. I'm trying to find out what the date is for that one, and I don't see it. But yeah,
For which one?
The big Boom Timber one that Jimmy has coming up, the 24th, 25th, and 26th. There we go. Yeah, end of the month. I don't believe Jimmy has
Oh, that's
anything
right.
for
That ain't
next
very long
weekend
from
either.
now. Yeah.
But yeah,
I
24th,
think
25th, 26th is our big one.
I had planned to fly up to that one, but I'm pretty confident I'm going to have the trophies ready for that. So wherever I think I see the most people might be, that's the show that I'm going to bring trophies to. Trophy update. We're close.
I have to bring up a second place for stealth for me and whatever current needs,
Right. I said I was going to make Dan a special one, but I think I just made him a regular one.
He's a regular Joe like everybody else. You put
It was going to be a funny.
You put a little lo mein on it, or a little piece of sweet and sour chicken or something, maybe.
Yeah. So anyway, so it looks like we got potentially 3 shows this weekend. That's cool.
I believe that is correct.
Yeah. Cool. So well, all right. Well, y'all, I appreciate you guys hanging with us. We enjoyed it. I know we went a little long, but that's okay, I guess. If y'all still here, we still here. But now we got to go use the restroom. So, right?
Something like that. I've been doing the whole thing, man. I got this little baggie running down my leg, and
right?
It's kind of a space thing, You got to be there.
Yeah.
But not here. You got to be there, but just not here.
Right. So let's see. Well, all right, guys. Then I appreciate you guys being with us. Check out that document that I put out on the group. If you want to see some scores, I will make a graphic, but I'm just letting everybody quit messaging me because I don't want to remake the graphic again and again. So as soon as that kind of settles down a little bit, I'll make another graphic because some people like the graphics better. But I'll try to keep that document going like on the regular for you guys. So anyway, so appreciate you guys being with us, and we will see you guys next week.
See some of you this week.